One of the things that figures most prominently along the Normandy coastline is Hitler's Atlantic Wall. Now, in the defense of Fortress Europe, there were over 900 concrete emplacements that were built all along the Normandy coastline. Now, there are a few that get a lot of attention whenever people come and visit Normandy. If you go close to Gold Beach, there's Longues-sur-Mer. I think I mispronounced that correctly. There's also Point du Hoc. One that doesn't get as much attention is this one here. This is Crisbecq Battery in the Utah Beach area. And this place is absolutely insane. And we're going to take a little bit of time today to explore this German battery that saw action on D-Day and in the days of attrition after. So this is Crisbecq Battery, and as you can see, we have a pretty commanding view of Utah Beach from here. In 1944, Crisbecq Battery would have been garrisoned by approximately 300 German Kriegsmarine, and they would have been further reinforced by about 100 soldiers from the 709th Infantry Division. So they were here to kind of provide ground support and protect this place. And it was from right here that the Germans first saw this massive Allied armada out on the sea. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the things that happened here at Crisbecq, but for now, we're going to kind of jump in and start exploring some of these bunkers in this complex. Okay, now this bunker is the furthest to the south here at Crisbecq, so we're going to go in here first. And yeah, so this is something that is quite familiar that we've seen in a number of other bunkers where we have this machine gun port or a rifle port, whatever, where the defenders could guard against any enemy incursion into the bunker. And yeah, interesting. All right, so the area that we're entering into in this bunker actually served as quarters for the crew that garrisoned this battery during the war. So these were sleeping quarters. And one thing that's interesting that you may notice is there is just damage everywhere on the inside. So you can see here all along the walls, there's exposed rebar. Concrete is all busted up. Well, that's because after U.S. soldiers took over this battery, they used this room right here. The engineers used this room right here to dispose of munitions. So they would bring them down here and then detonate them. Now take a look at this. This is the damage that was done to the blast door. Only a bunch of young guys in their late teens and early 20s would be capable of doing that kind of damage to a blast door. Wow, this is really incredible. One thing that is pretty dang cool here at Crisbecq is they've excavated all of the trench system here, so you can kind of travel along the same route that the Germans would have been using whenever they were manning this battery and looking to answer back on D-Day. So just before 6 a.m. on D-Day, Crisbecq Battery started opening up on the U.S. fleet. So they were exchanging fire with a battleship called the USS Nevada. There was another cruiser called the USS Tuscaloosa that they were going back and forth with. And there was a destroyer called the USS Corey, if I'm not mistaken, that was actually hit and sank to the bottom of the channel from a shot that was fired right here from Crisbecq. Okay, rounding another corner here, and this is the next bunker just to the north of the bunker that we were just in. And I guess we'll go in here and see what it is. So I just read that this was a Type 502 shelter, and in here they have an example of the trolley system that was used to transport munitions around the battery. And they also have something that I really liked. So everybody knows that I really like stories of restoration and reclamation. Well, Crisbecq Battery was a place that had been pretty much lost to history for nearly 60 years. If you look there on the left, that's what it looked like. And then it was purchased and then restored and renovated. So this place was kind of like a time capsule in a way. Here you can see some other pictures of the excavation taking place. Yeah. Look at here. Here's another example. So there's what one of the gun pits looked like before. So you can see it was completely filled in and then excavated and the history restored. Now, this is just pretty darn crazy. Crisbecq Battery did not fall on D-Day. As a matter of fact, it took several days for U.S. soldiers to take this stronghold. And on June 8th, 1944, there was a 105 millimeter shell that was fired here at the battery from the south. It missed the outside of this bunker, came down the steps, and look at this. Blew this big old dadgum hole right in the back of this bunker. Heaven's sakes, that is a big old hole. And I'll bet you if you were in here, you probably would have evacuated your bowels whenever that thing came sailing through. Actually, you'd probably be dead. Okay, well, I'm now moving down a dark yellow tunnel to where I do not know. All right, coming around corner here to another bunker, and holy smokes. So I just showed you the battle damage inside the previous bunker. Looks like this one took a few hits as well and knocked a couple chunks out of it. Whoo-wee, that got mad at this one. Yeah. All right. Looks like we also have a gun position here. So you would have a guy positioned here in the room just behind this port to cover anybody who was trying to get in the backside of this battery. All right, we'll go in here and take a quick look. Okay, looks like we are in the anti-air command post. So here they have a few scenes set up. Looks like I have a U.S. prisoner who is being questioned there. And yeah, another room here showing, oh, okay, so this is showing some pictures of the construction of this battery. Interesting. So they would have used individuals, Germans from something called the TOT organization, T-O-D-T, as well as conscripted French laborers on these types of projects. Wow, this is so cool that they have these original photos. And it may be that not all of these are from Crisbecq. Huh. Oh, look at here. This shows some of the camouflage techniques that were used in some of these batteries. So here's one that was made to look like a house. Here's another that was made to look like a house. They would paint them up, kind of like what we saw on the outside of this one. Yeah. Right, so inside there, we were just reading that this was an anti-aircraft command bunker. And yep, I was also reading that on top, they had a 20 millimeter anti-aircraft gun. So if we go up here, we can see what one of these positions would have looked like. Now, Crisbecq got completely pounded. It wasn't like it was completely unknown to the Allies that this was here. And it just got hammered from the air. So they had to have these defenses set up to try and protect the battery from air attack as well. Okay, moving along here to the next battery. Oh, and this is pretty cool. This is a grenade trap. So if you're attacking this battery, well, one thing that you might try and do is take your grenade and throw it down these stove pipes or ventilation pipes and blow up the people inside. Well, the Germans who constructed these batteries kind of thought about that, and they created a grenade trap with these Y-shaped pipes, where if you put your grenade in right there, it would go down, and instead of going all the way down into the bunker, it would kick out. Let me see if I can see it through the camera here. It would kick out through that hole right there. So there was a little Y-shaped pipe that fed grenades down into this hole so that it wouldn't hurt the people inside. Yeah, that is pretty interesting. All right, got another bunker here that was used as a shelter. Now, this style was capable of holding 2 10-man combat teams. We've already been in a few like this, so I don't think that one is really any different. Oh, but we do have some steps though, and steps usually lead us somewhere. And oh, got ourselves a little Tobruk. So we've seen these before. So this would have been for either a mortar team or a machine gunner position. So they would go up in here. Oh, little hole. Ugh. Not a lot of room here. And then, well, of course, would be used to protect the battery and the shelter in particular from any enemy attack. All right, into, holy cow, into a big one here. I don't know what this is, but it looks cool. Let's see if they have something up here telling us what this is. Oh, okay, so this is a kitchen and food reserve area. Okay. Pretty dark in here, but you can see this is where some food prep is taking place. And then if we dodge back out here into this bunker tunnel, we'll go in here, and it looks like they have a little workshop set up in here with some Soviet in the Ost Battalion, or maybe a Soviet POW doing some work. Well, you can probably guess where we are now. This is the hospital or aid station here at Crisbecq Battery. All right, so if we enter into here, a lot of these bunkers are really kind of similar in function. And yeah, it looks like we have little medical situation going on here in the aid station. Somebody bumped their head. Something that is pretty cool about this particular room that I found out is that a lot of these medicine bottles and some of the supplies in here are original to the bunker. They found them here whenever they excavated this place. Pretty interesting. Okay, running kind of short on time, but I'm too curious about what this is to just pass it up. This is a structure that I've never really even seen before. So, oh, dang. This is this is supposed to be like a walk-in cooler, a cooling room. So they have these hooks up here for hanging meat. And it says here that they also would have had a vegetable mincer in here that they would have used to cook. Huh, interesting. All right, so we are still making our way through Crisbecq Battery here. My gosh, this place is huge. Now, there's an interesting story that came out of the fight to take Crisbecq. On June 7th, one of the regiments from the 4th Infantry Division made an assault on this position. They were, the Germans rather, were supported by 105mm guns from Azoville Battery, which isn't too far away. And in that assault, one of the casualties was a guy by the name of Preston Niland. Preston Niland is one of the Niland brothers, and they were the inspiration for the movie Saving Private Ryan. And he died right here. All right, and what we are looking at here is one of the 155mm gun positions. Okay, now you can see these like pods through here, which were used to store ammunition. The guns that they have here aren't original to the battery. They ended up being kind of broken down and used for scrap after the war. But the position is still here. All right, we are about all the way through Crisbecq Battery, and this right here is one of the 210mm gun positions. So obviously this is absolutely massive. So this is where the big guns would have been housed, and it looks like it's been busted up a little bit. Now, there were 2 of these on D-Day that had been completed. This was one of them, and there was another one that got hit on D-Day by the USS Nevada, and it is right there. So Crisbecq Battery ended up holding out until June 11th. It got to the point where they just had far too many wounded, guns were knocked out, they were running out of supplies, so they received permission to withdraw from this position, and then the US came in and took it over. But wow, this place is stunning. I didn't even show it all because I'm running out of time and I'm holding people up and I feel bad about it. But this complex is just as expansive as it gets. If you ever come to Normandy, definitely come to this place. We have some more from Crisbecq, but that is going to be in the American Artifact series.